Just I hit record just as someone, I don't know, starts hitting something outside. But welcome to our first DAO Alliance call. I'm just going to keep letting people in as they come in. The idea with these is, at least this one, the one that I'll be facilitating, the idea behind it is it's to be less like presentation style, where we like have slides and we go through stuff. That might pop up from time to time, but these are meant to be more mastermind support coaching style stuff, because a lot of the times I've been finding, at least in what I've been learning about DAOs and like hopping in on all these trainings, is we're learning a lot about tools. We're learning a lot about like good kinds of structure, but when you go online on Twitter and in Discord and talking to people, often the things that DAOs struggle with the most at the end of the day are actually, how do we become sustainable and make profit outside of just receiving grants? Because grants are great now, but there's no saying that the grant ecosystem that we're all benefiting from actually is going to last long term. So trying to find something to be sustainable. And then the other two pieces of feedback are always community and communication. And that's one of the things that very few DAOs feel really confident in having tackled. And so I know as a lot of us are starting new DAOs, starting new projects, there's a lot of moving pieces. And so I wanted us to have a space where we can talk about stuff that isn't necessarily like tools to use, but actually more the planning and brainstorming around how to grow our DAO in a sustainable way that also gives us sovereignty. If we're just relying on grants, we're not actually sovereign and therefore aren't always able to do all the projects that we want. And some of us, shout out to Daphne with Black Leaders DAO, some of us, like Daphne, are running like really, really important DAO projects like Black Leaders DAO. And so sovereignty is really, really important because it means that you're able to grow your program and reach without rules or any kind of things like that, which is really important when you're trying to make a big impact. And then obviously having your DAO last more than a couple months or a couple years requires us to also have communication skills and know how to work with people. A little bit about myself, like my name's Lana. My background is in entrepreneurship. So I came into the DAO space because I find DAOs very fascinating. I'm very interested in the ways in which they can disrupt our current model of working and making money. And I feel that DAOs in a lot of ways actually replicate the same spirit, essence, and mindset, as well as struggles of entrepreneurship. And so one of the biggest things I know from my work of working with entrepreneurs as well as a coach is really working to kind of dismantle the employee mindset, where we're all kind of raised through our education program, actually, to just like sit at a desk and be told what to do. And then we go out and do it and someone marks us and gives us a grade. And we're not really taught to think outside the box, critical thinking, analysis, collaborating and working. Like, how do you actually work with people when you don't hold power over them? And so these are all these interesting philosophical questions that I feel the DAO space is really like looking to tackle, but we haven't quite, at least to my knowledge, there isn't really DAOs out there that feel very, very confident in having tackled that. And so this space is really meant for us to kind of brainstorm and collaborate and work together to help us come up with tools and systems, but more like people-wise, to help our DAOs thrive, as well as talk about some of the issues and struggles we might be having, like how do we actually make money, or how do we empower people to actually follow through on work that they're committing, even after, say, like the token launch and all the fun beginning perks happen. Like, how do we sustain long-term? So this space, the one that I'll be hosting, as well as a few other people, that's kind of like what this DAO Alliance calls are looking to tackle. We will also in the future have trainings and all that other kind of stuff as well, but just kind of setting the tone that this space that we are running here today and other spaces that we're running are meant to be more collaborative. Bring your problems, like things you're struggling with, things that you can't seem to find answers to. If you need support or resources, that kind of stuff, like this is what I really encourage us to bring into the space. And so a few ground rules, which, oh, my pleasure, I'll kind of go over for everyone. Today we have like a smaller group, so we'll have time. I want everyone to kind of just go around quickly, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about why you're here. Maybe you're in a DAO, maybe you're not. There are like that, like everyone is welcome. So just introduce yourself. And I'll say the rules often, but the rules are just more like the container of space we're creating with each other. So respect is obviously one. The second is that there is actually no right or wrong. So we might not agree or see eye to eye on things, and that's okay. That's actually how innovation works. And so it's also knowing that maybe we don't agree on how to solve a problem, and the underlying energy we want to have in this group is respect, but also have the space be okay for discourse and for challenging each other if that feels like good. The second grand rule is just, if you tend to share your opinion often, totally okay. However, as the group grows, we don't always have a lot of time. Like, we're hoping to keep these calls at an hour and a half for attention purposes. Just asking yourself, is it useful for the group if I share my opinion? Could my opinion be better shared in the chat box? Could my opinion be better shared maybe in the Discord, the Alliance channel that we have afterwards? And so just always kind of asking, okay, like, is it, if you're someone who takes up a lot of space, because, and that's a person like me, so this is always my disclaimer to myself, is to just be aware of space, and ask, does this need to be shared? And then I encourage people who maybe don't take up as much space or share their opinion less, I actually encourage you to share your opinion and your thoughts more as well. That way we actually have a well-rounded take on like what the group has to offer versus just hearing from the same few people over and over again. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to say before we go into introductions? Perfect. Okay. I'm just going to call on people based on my little like my little crew here. So Kate, I'm just going to have you go first because you're the first box.
Hey, I'm Kate. So I will be leading the Scholars DAO under the Blue DAO umbrella with Lana. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, I'm just like looking forward to being here and building with everyone.
Okay, that's actually a good point, Kate. Maybe also say like a little bit who you are, and then what is something you're looking for, like what would be something useful for you today to receive?
I don't know. So I'm just like,
Kate's useful thing to receive is someone else coming up with something to receive.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Okay, my name's Lana. I'm co-leading the scholarship DAO under the Blue DAO umbrella, but also a contributor with Blue DAO. And what I'm looking forward to getting out of, or what I'm looking to get out of today is just kind of an idea of what people want out of these calls, honestly, so that as a facilitator, I can start structuring them in the way that is useful for people and hopefully somewhat fun to be on. Jess, you're up next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jess. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm really excited to be going to Amsterdam with Blue DAO. So really looking forward to that. Daphne, it's good to see your face. I've seen it this big on the little Telegram chat. So I own a music production company out here in Los Angeles. I'm a huge advocate for creatives. I sit on the board of a couple of organizations. My dream is to launch something that helps creatives register their rights, and I want to do it as a DAO, but I'm trying to figure out, there's a lot of politics involved with how royalties are collected, and I helped push through some legislation through one of my board seats to change copyright law for creatives. So I'm pretty well connected in terms of knowing what a lot of the players are, but I want to create something that's owned by the community. So there's kind of just this, this proprietary information issue goes away. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about how DAOs function, just to see if there's a way I can do this outside of the music industry specifically. And yeah, but I'm here just to learn and see how I can help creatives in this space and participate.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Jess. We're excited to have you too. Okay. Daphne, you're up next. The powerhouse.
Sure.
That is Daphne Charles.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daphne. I'm one of the co-founders of Black Leaders DAO, and I'm leading the two Blue DAO hack teams later in Amsterdam next week with Jess, who's coming. So yeah, great to see you here. And yeah, so Black Leaders DAO just started like less than a month ago. And so we're really in the beginning stages. And so what I'm really interested in learning more about is what is the most important thing to prioritize when you're just starting a DAO? Because there's just so much to do. You need to figure out what to put the majority of your energy into. And so I want to know if that's building the community or working on like a product for our DAO to make money off of, or getting grants. Like, what is the main focus so that we can be more organized? And also just what tools are people using to stay organized, and on what cadences are people meeting in terms of the core team of their DAOs, things like that. Yeah.
Thank you, Daphne. And that's a good question and a good place to start for us after intros. Okay, Melanie, you're up next. Also a powerhouse.
Good morning, ladies. I'm Melanie. I'm working in operations with Blue DAO. I am getting Black Leaders DAO going with Daphne. I am here I'm here because I love the mission and the space. And, you know, although I was investing, I very much feel like a newbie. My world was rocked 3 weeks ago when I went to ETH Rio. And now I'm like reorganizing my entire life around DAOs. And I'm just excited to show up and work and to be in alignment to, you know, just creating more in this space and gaining more clarity, you know, I think is what everyone's looking for, more clarity and how to be more efficient and effective. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Melanie. Yeah, for just be warned, when you go on and anyone else that's on this call that's maybe going on a Blue DAO scholarship, you don't know it, but you're drinking the Kool-Aid the whole time, and you come back and you're in a full-fledged cult and you're like really happy about it. Okay, Novell, who is one of the founders of our cult. You're up.
Okay, I look terrible because it's in the morning. I'm trying. Hi, guys. So first of all, very good to see everyone, and thank you, Lena, for doing this. Very much needed. So I'm Novell Lowe, co-founder of Blue DAO, and actually very, very proud mama to all of you guys. And what is so special, I think, about Blue DAO is really the community, as you guys can see. One of the things that I'm very excited about this call is to really have this support system. And what I'm beginning to see is that all of the leaders are showing up. If you look at all the people on this call, you guys are leaders. That's why you guys are here. And so what I'm excited about is a space to really talk about, you know, like have a topic every week, right? So this week's topic, I think, it's how do we build wealth for the DAO? So I'm very interested to hear all of the ideas, because the whole thing about Web3 and DAOs is that they're new. They're supposed to be transformational. And that means that maybe the greatest ideas are not yet even born, but they'll be born through sessions like this, when brilliant minds come together. So that's what I'm excited about. And to those of you guys going to ETH Amsterdam, I look forward to meeting you all.
Thank you, Novell. Amy, you were up next in my screen, and I thought you like signed off because you got scared. But Amy, you're back on. So Amy is the other co-founder of our cult, DAO, Blue DAO.
This is so funny. When we were asking for feedback from, I think, Nikita, and he also said like, oh, you guys are a little cultish, and I'm like, yeah. Because I think that's the kind of community we want to create, right? We want everyone to feel like they belong, that they are part of something exciting, that they're part of a family. So a cult is an inside joke, and it's funny. And I really don't mind us being called a cult if people are well served that way. So welcome everyone. We're so happy to have you all here on this call.
DAO Alliance, yeah, it's very exciting because even for us, for Blue DAO, we're figuring everything out. We don't even know what's the right step. There's no right step. Everything is experimental. And like my sister said, we're basically like pioneers of whatever we're creating. We are creating the space. There is no rule. There's no permission to be asked, and it's very exciting. And I want to share what we learn. We want to hear what you learn so that we can all learn from each other. And I think calling this a mastermind is definitely the right step.
Wow,
Thanks, Lana.
awesome. Thank you, Amy. And for the record, we're called like, there's no sacrificing. You're not required to like give up all your money to us, and everyone's welcome. So it's like a nice cult, you know, Care Bear cult kind of. Okay, Randy, you're up next.
Hi everyone. I didn't know my internet was gonna be working properly, but I am Randy Gomez. I am leading the onboarding DAO for Blue DAO and also working with two amazing women with Latam DAO under Blue. So excited to just learn more about the structure and how we can collaborate, because there's so many, you know, opportunities amongst us to grow and to develop this space. So I'm really excited to be here, and thank you so much for putting this together because it is so needed. So thank you for putting together this sacred space for us.
Well, thank you, Randy, and thank you for being here. Okay, Daniel. I think there, yeah, just one Daniel on it. Daniel, you're up.
Hey, how you doing? So I work with Jess. I'm the president of Entrepreneurs of Tomorrow, which is a nonprofit. We teach Black and Brown students how to solve problems through entrepreneurship. And Jess and I, we're looking into a couple of things, but we want to launch our EOT DAO to support our student program to get some more youthpreneurs out there. So far, we've had 6 youthpreneurs in the 3 years that we've been operating, and they've grossed over 6 figures in their businesses. So we're really excited to see how we could even expand that mission with DAO.
Wow. Okay, I like that. I'm like, my brain's already has millions of ideas. I'm gonna start creeping you, Jess and
awesome,
Daniel.
awesome.
Thank you for being here. Okay, next up is Mr. Techno Coins. I like that.
Everyone, it's Douglas from Rio.
Hey, okay, you're incognito.
Yeah, my name is Douglas Miranda. I'm also known as Techno Coins. I'm the founder of Coin Masters in Brazil, and also the co-founder of the Unstable Labs. So as I already had some business, when I get to know this ecosystem of harmony, I saw an opportunity to develop Brazil and Latam in Web 3.0. And now I'm helping several DAOs already here in Brazil. I didn't launch a project yet, but as Unstable Labs, we took a part of my business and created it. So probably I'm gonna do this more times as the time goes by, and we get to know how we can provide more efficiency and make a better ecosystem. So I'm here to support and to learn also. So if you guys need something, let me know. I'm here. Feel free to DM me.
Awesome.
I need to choose the next one.
Oh, you can choose the next one. Essentially, I've got, or I could go because I know the order. If you want me to go.
It's probably better. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, Natalia, you're the next victim.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a member of, as governor of Crypto Mujeres DAO with Annalisa, and I'm a part of Blue DAO Latam. So it's a lot of DAO, but I was thinking that I was learning so much about governance in the DAO world. And yesterday I had a lot of, I thought that I had a lot of experience about the practice with tokens, because I didn't know a lot of things about that. So thank you so much for the workshop. And I was thinking that the best way to understand these words is in the practice. So it was so helpful to practice with the question that you gave you give us yesterday. So yeah, I think that the part of the alliance between us with DAOs, it's so important, because the thing that I always talk with Annalisa, that maybe I am in Argentina and you are in USA and you are in Brazil, so we really need to connect around the world. And I think that maybe with COVID and the pandemic, we learned about to grow up in the distance. So I think that we have the opportunity to grow up everyone with our DAO. So I'm very happy and very excited to be here. And yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Natalia. And yeah, I think you brought up a really great point too, how well, I think like I'm a service-based entrepreneur that already operated online, and it's very interesting, like the entrepreneurial world is so used to digital. And it really does actually break so many barriers for entry, because we're able to share resources, and it's like we're able to share minds. Like the whole point of a mastermind is it's a collection of minds ends up being like the mega boss mastermind, because as individual people we make up a way more powerful force of knowledge than any one of us could ever be as individuals. And so being able to do this virtually is really useful. So thank you for bringing that up. And that's why it's important too for everyone to share, not just like the same people. Okay, Devin X, you're up next.
Sorry, trying to get the video there. All right, good morning, beautiful, amazing people. How are you? Hello from Denver. Let's see, I guess I'm a regular lurker in at least half a dozen DAOs. Just trying to learn everything I can, sort of jumped all the way down the rabbit hole at ETH Denver, and really knew by day 2 that there was no going back. I've got a background, so yeah, I feel like I'm a part of the bigger cult already. But yeah, I guess I have a background in entrepreneurship, sales and marketing, community organizing, advocacy for the unhoused, and I'm founding something that I didn't realize the infrastructure, the Web3 was the infrastructure for. So I've had an idea for years for how to help people not only with entrepreneurship, but how to focus that into impact related businesses. And how to network them all together. So I love B Corps and benefit companies and cooperatives and those things. And I feel like DAOs are an evolution of that. Obviously, they give us some ways to enact democracy and distributed ownership and distribute profits in more powerful ways. So yeah, I founded the Choose Impact Network, which I just barely have socials up for, and I'm working on like light papers and drafts and so forth right now. But it will do just that. Sort of the idea is to grow it into something that will be a good, maybe a base layer or even a protocol. I know it's ambitious, but yeah, so that's what I'm here for, trying to learn everything I can about DAOs and how to create one that, as Lana said, will be sustainable, profitable, and effective long term, and interested in token engineering. Just got paid for my first writing lobby with One Hive Gardens, an explainer article on conviction voting. So if anybody, yeah, I'm definitely willing to contribute and help do something like that with Blue DAO as well, which I'm new to but thoroughly impressed with already. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. We're excited to have you here.
Thanks.
And I like to the amount of entrepreneurs on this call is useful for us, because entrepreneurs are good at finding ways to make money, and that's what we need. Because DAOs are, like I said in the beginning, I really do feel like DAOs are actually like this next extension of entrepreneurship, which allows them to be innovative and think outside the box. Sheila, you are up next.
Hello, 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 everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can put my camera on. Okay, hi. First of all, I am a Journey to Wealth member. Amy and Melanie, how you guys doing? I've kind of been following you guys. I'm like in the background quietly seeing how you move, and I like the way everyone's moving. Okay, I'm a jewelry designer, and since this new technology thing has started, I've been following it and I'm very intrigued. And I noticed that there are not a lot of older ones, okay? Younger ones. So therefore, I'm in the process of creating a DAO called We Age. And we age with freedom to create, and we age with freedom to do whatever we want to do. So right now I'm in that process where I would like to communicate more about that. I want to be a contributor of the Blue DAO, of course. And I haven't gone on one of the trips yet, but hopefully I'll be awarded a scholarship for one, okay? And I just like to say this to Amy because Amy, you're just awesome. I'm trying to get in touch with you. I know you're so busy, but I have to tickle your ear with something that you're gonna love, okay? Because you've been a great inspiration to me and my book that I'm writing, okay? And I want you to know that. So I'm in this space, like I said, to create a DAO that's sustainable, okay? And one of my concerns was that if DAOs are created by the community and we have all these DAOs and everyone's in the community, how do we support each other? Because we need the freedom to protect our DAOs, our freedom, and our oneness of creativity. So that's the space that I'm in, and that's what I'm looking for. And I want to be a part of it as much as I can and not exclude the elderly or the youth, because we want this to be full circle and we don't want to leave any gaps. So that's where I am right now. So that's me, and that's my story.
Oh, awesome. But I felt like, I'm like, do you want to keep, you can just keep talking. I feel like that was like an inspirational speech. No, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And your point, like decentralization, I'm a big decentralization, like if it's not decentralized, I don't want it. And what you're speaking to, it's like decentralization, we need to think of it not just as institutions, but decentralization means like across ages. It means across languages. Like even this, I would love for us to start doing these, not just in English, because that's a barrier to entry for a lot of people. And so I really appreciate you saying that, because yeah, decentralization means us actually thinking about how does this become accessible to everyone, regardless of who they are, where they are, because it's not actually decentralized if it's just central to certain groups of people.
Right, right. And I say that, I don't want to go on, but I say that because sometimes the older person, I'm 64 years old, so I feel like I'm the oldest one here. Okay. But with the older ones, sometimes it may take a little longer for us to learn or to catch on. And I feel it's important because when you're older, sometimes you have more wisdom, you have more value, you have more to give. And we want to connect those generations. So that's why I think it's important. And that's what my goal is, to reach out. And here in Jersey City, where I live, it's open space. So I will be teaching here. I'm already reaching out to the African Board of Chamber of Commerce. Okay, so I'm on top of it. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Well, thank you for sharing. And this is part of
I want to also, sorry, Sheila, I'm so happy to see you here. Yeah, we're really welcoming you here. And I'm sorry I haven't been able to call you back, but let's chat today.
Girl, I know you're busy. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Definitely. Bye-bye.
I love it. And this is just even like there's power in just even like sharing who we are and what we're doing, because it allows us to connect and share resources outside of just these calls. And that's why I want at least the structure for these ones to be a little bit more like this in whatever capacity we can. Obviously, as they grow, we have to kind of change with it, but sharing and connecting as people, you know, protocols are protocols, but DAOs are still run by people. And so we need to like be connected and know who our other people in community are out there. So thank you so much. Okay, Nora, you're up next on my list.
Hi there. My name is Nora. I met some of you in Rio, so nice to see you all again. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. I have a background. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a background in ed tech and femtech, as well as women human rights nonprofits. So, and I currently work with Harmony as a contributor on events, and more recently working with the female-led DAOs built on Harmony to help identify pain points, understand what's going on in DAOs. As some of you know, we have at Harmony a milestone to onboard 10,000 DAOs by the end of the year, but many of us also know that that's not going to be possible without maintaining the health of the DAOs that we currently have. So I'm really here just to hear more about how things are going, what people are struggling with, and so I can, put it together in a comprehensive way to try to figure out solutions to the problems that we're having.
Awesome. Thank you. We're happy to have you here. Yeah. And it is one of those things where if we're trying to build things for sustainable things for the long-term future, problem solving is part of what we have to do. Okay. Xing, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Lana, for inviting me. So I'm Xing. Currently, I don't know anything much about Web3, but after ETH Denver as well, after what Melanie was saying, that it kind of blew my mind. And I'm one of the founding member of Crypto Lingo DAO, where it got kicked off after ETH Rio. Two of my governors weren't here, but was so excited to be part of it. And I'm also excited to be contributing whatever I can for Blue DAO, because I love the mission to empowering women into Web3 world. So helping a lot. Randy's not here anymore, but I'll be helping her a lot on onboarding as a contributor. I also love planning events. So Lana, if you need me helping in planning any events in any conference, but if I can be there, I would love to help planning event, because I lead the Pilates sessions in ETH Denver. So I'll be talking to one of the members, and I believe her name is Aliza. We'll be doing something called Blue Wellness. So maybe hold on to that. I don't know what's gonna happen. I just randomly throw out, and apparently people love the idea. So we'll have a Blue Wellness event, something coming out, because people have been working too much. You need some wellness. You need to have. I know Lana, you did the breath work. Kate, you did yoga before. So as long as there's something, maybe I can throw some ideas out there, and we can see what we can do. Right now it's just an idea. So I love contributing. I love all of you ladies out there, and obviously gentlemen there, sorry. Thanks for having me here. I'm excited to be contributing anything that you guys need.
Well, thank you. We're happy to have you here. Randy just came back in. I know her internet keeps pooping out on her. Yeah, I love the idea of the wellness series as well. It's like, lots of people like to play golf, but there's all these ways in which people like network and connect, and sometimes they're just not activities we actually want to partake in, and so it's fun to be able to do other activities too. Al, you are up next.
Did you say Al?
Yeah, it's you. You're
Al the Ally here. I am the core founding team members of Blue DAO, also part of Harmony's Venture Network. So when I'm here to really enrich the culture. I've been here since the beginning and gone through the journeys with everyone that's participated in Blue DAO and their mission. So it's been amazing experience, and it's just been here as a support system and exactly to enrich the culture that we're advocating for. So is it a cult or is it a tribe? I kind of see it more like a tribe. We're not trying to exploit people, but we're here to be cohesively and co-op with each other. So I'm Al the Ally. Hello, and this is a great way to get our cameras on, right? Call each other out and turn on the cameras. But at the same time, I'm like scarfing down my breakfast. Excuse me.
No, it's okay. Thank you. I guess I should have said too, like, you can always message me in the chat and just be like, please don't call on me if you need. But it's nice to at least just put a name to a face if possible. Okay, next up we have Jenny.
Hello, everyone. I'm based out of New York. I found out about Harmony through ETH Denver. I worked as a product lead in machine learning, design systems, cloud infra back in Web2 days. I'm currently a co-founder of a dating DAO called Mingle DAO. And what we do is we host in real life dating events in New York, and we have plans to expand in other cities as well as interest. But yeah, we wanted it to be a DAO because we feel like the community should really determine the dating etiquettes, the norms, the guidelines, and we all really deserve a better dating experience. And I am here to just see how other DAOs operate so that we can also build a more decentralized process in our org. But nice meeting everyone.
Nice meeting you too. Okay. Oh, Annalisa. Okay, we won't call on Annalisa. Annalisa, though, do you want to put in just like a really quick introduction, even just into the chat, so people can know a little bit more about you? And then while she's doing that, Cian Plays, you're up next.
Hi, good morning. So my sister's doing dishes in the background. So I found out about Blue and Harmony through ETH Denver. I'm pretty new to the Web3 space. I only started learning about it in January, but I recently quit my job to go into Web3 full time. I'm going to be a contributor for Blue DAO to help with some of the onboarding and HR stuff. My background is actually in hospitality. I did a major in that in college and worked in the hotel industry for about 2.5 years before switching to become an engineer. So I did software development for the last 4 years. And I am also helping with onboarding in another protocol. So that protocol is called Orange, and we do reputation and governance for DAOs. So that'll help with like voting and trying to figure out like how to kind of calculate how much people have contributed and what voting power they should be given.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And don't you always love, like, right when you're being asked to speak, that noises come on in the background?
I know, so sorry.
No, it happens to me all the time too. And I think, okay, we've got, oh, Noe. I don't think you, Noe, I haven't heard from you yet.
Good morning, everyone. Hey. Yeah, so I'm an ETH Denver scholar and I'm a Blue DAO contributor. As of February, when I first learned about Web3, I became a digital nomad. I did not know that was what was going to happen to me, but I've self-funded another conference last week in Miami, and I'm currently self-funding another conference, a consensus in June. So I've got half of the digital nomad equation in that I'm going to the things, but I need funding because real digital nomads have funding. Anyway, my background is in HR, specifically employee relations, and I'm also an artist. I've had a jewelry design business and a fiber arts business over the years. So I'm here because I am committed to the holistic and sustainable growth of Blue DAO. And I want to understand how we, as a woman-focused DAO, can do things in a way that is more holistic. I don't specifically want us to be a bunch of women doing things in a very masculine way. Like we're just doing what they're doing. Nothing against men, of course, but if we are a woman-focused DAO, I believe in bringing a more holistic and sustainable approach to what we're doing and not just copying what others are doing. I was interested to hear Devin talk about B Corps. I'm also very interested in the intersection of B Corps and DAO. I'm currently in a program called the Inner MBA, which focuses on B Corps and conscious leadership. So yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm here to see how we can grow, what we can do. And I'm also in the early stages of formation of another DAO, and I want to learn as much as I can from my experience here and bring that to other endeavors as well.
Wow. Thank you, Noe. And I miss you. And Kate and I have also decided to be digital nomads. So we're just going to start stalking you so that we can hang out all the time. Yeah. Okay. I think the last person on the call we have, I think it's pronounced Eliza. If you wanted to introduce yourself.
Yes, I would love to. Let me come on here. Excuse me that I'm sitting in the bed, but I do want to show my face hi everyone. It's so nice to be here. Yeah, so I met this group in East Denver. The first thing I did when I got to East Denver was to find women's events and women's things. And so what Blue DAO was doing was like so cool. I was just so inspired by you guys. I think Lana, I met you first. I walked in and I was like, what's going on here? You said something about scholars and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, I'm just inspired by you all. And right now I'm working on a project called Shelter Humanity. And I have a girls empowerment program. It's a fashion empowerment program in Uganda and in Bangladesh. And I really want it to be worldwide where girls are learning from each other. I'm a singer-songwriter and holistic health practitioner. I teach yoga, Pilates, meditation, breath work, everything you can imagine. During COVID, I was in India. I had a studio there before Los Angeles. Now I'm a digital nomad as well. But yeah, I'm so interested in being a part of this DAO as well as potentially starting DAOs. For women's empowerment, I had a group called the Sirens International, which was a collective of women in business and performing arts in Montreal, New York City, and then Los Angeles. So I'm like, okay, do I do that as a DAO? Or my company is called All Star Society, and I really want to support companies that are making the world a brighter place. So I've done digital marketing consulting around that, and maybe I have an All Star Society DAO so we can make the world a brighter place, or Shelter Humanity itself. So right now, Shelter Humanity, the girls, and then I also, I want to contribute to this and just see how I can use Web3 to really I've had so many ideas, and I think that the Web3 space is really now an opportunity to manifest that based off of the way, we're functioning. I get the chills just saying that, so I'm super excited to be here and to learn and to grow together. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, and we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think, everyone's introduced themselves. If I missed you, I apologize, and just unmute yourself and interrupt me. But I just kind of wanted to recap like what everyone said. So the main like words or concepts that people really brought up in terms of like what they're looking for and what they're needing, sustainability was a word that was used very often. Collaboration, support system, clarity, alignment, having this holistic, really, again, genuine and sustainable approach to what we're doing. Some of the other stuff was, again, like the building wealth, like which ties into sustainability. So what I'm gathering from people's shares is that we're all looking for variations of the same thing, which is good when you're creating a group support system and mastermind. And so when we're looking at and thinking about clarity, alignment, support, collaboration, structure, sustainability, even just thinking like after the call is over again, and like kind of, again, join our Discord. We have a DAO Alliance chat. Even just always thinking about or having these ideas percolate. And then anytime you're finding information or something online that maybe is in relation to this, just feeling free to share it with the group. And I would definitely recommend that people learn more about Black Leaders DAO, which Daphne just dropped into the chat. Our Discord's down right now, but yeah, it'll be up soon. So if you're not in our Discord yet, just even like shoot us a message on Telegram, and then when it's open again, we had a bot spam attack for a fake NFT thing that we're not even really launching. Like we have an NFT, but we're not launching an NFT, so we got attacked for nothing. Okay, so with today's call, like the main theme of the topic was, again, generating wealth, creating sustainability, and taking our DAOs to the moon. And when we're thinking and looking at how to actually create income as a DAO, I would love to, I'll like open it up to people to either give ideas or to share things that have worked for them. But I just want to set the stage with, there are millions and millions and millions of ways to make money. And oftentimes our inability to create wealth, like within the structure of say a DAO or a business, is oftentimes not because there's a lack of opportunity, but because we just haven't thought of what the opportunity is. And oftentimes it's, again, it's less about not being able to do something and more like we just don't have the tools or resources to come up with the ideas needed to actually go out and seek out the opportunities, or in a lot of cases, which I will encourage people to do, is create your own opportunities. And because we are in the Web3 space and it's moving constantly and there's new things being implemented every day, it's like an overwhelming space to be in. But the beauty of that also means that if you can't think of something that will generate your DAO income today, tomorrow you probably will, because there'll be a million new things that get launched. You'll be like, that's the thing I'm going to do. And so again, with my background being entrepreneurship, and in particular, like I do business coaching, one of the like fundamental aspects of actually being able to create wealth is really just being able to offer a solution to a problem that someone has. And it, at the end of the day, like comes down to that, to being that simple. Now, there are situations in which there's an obvious problem, and therefore you're going to like present to them a solution to a problem that someone already knows is a problem. Like they're conscious of the fact that there's an issue. But then there's the other space of, we can also make money solving problems, again, offering to help someone solve a problem, but they might not know that it's a problem yet. Just because they don't know it's not a problem yet, it doesn't mean that you're like fabricating it, but we are all plugged in so many different ways, and in whatever our kind of like zone of our DAO and the problems we're solving with our DAO are. So we're actually more likely to see problems than maybe someone else. Like as an example, like Blue DAO is more likely, because we are a DAO that's focused on empowering women and non-binary people. So we are more likely, because of like the niche of our DAO, to understand the issues that women and non-binary people face in the Web3 space than say Harmony, that because Harmony, they're just like they're focused on a bunch of other things. And so because we're in this niche space, we're more inclined to see like where problems are, and where there's a problem, there's an opportunity to provide a solution. And because it's Web3 and we're DAOs, you can actually attach like a means of receiving compensation for solving that issue. And so just always encouraging people to like think outside the box. Some of the stuff Kate and I have been thinking about with the scholarship DAO is actually like, how can we also think of our DAO as a contributor? So there are bounties everywhere in Web3 for people to solve problems, or there's like ways to contribute. And so also looking at how can my DAO actually be a contributor or seek out bounties and then do whatever the bounty asks and have that be a way to make money, as well as obviously like there are a lot of other ways to do it. But I would love to open it up. So anyone who's kind of maybe been doing it a little bit longer, the DAO space, or I don't know if Nora's still on the call. No, I don't see her. If anyone has like any examples or things that they did to kind of build some equity in their DAO, and would like to share what that looked like and kind of how they came to that idea, then what we can do is like look at the process. So even though our DAO might not be able to do the same thing, we can look at how people come up with ways to make money and then use that same process to help us come up with ways to make money. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, does anyone want to share? If anyone has any ideas.
I'm not sure if I'm answering your question correctly, but what's going through my mind is reaching out to chambers of commerces, whatever state you're in, whatever county you're in, they may not be as knowledgeable. They know what's going on in this new world, but they not be as knowledgeable. So I think if we take advantage of that, introducing it to them and requesting funds for them, because they're also interested, there's no way that they can just say, I don't know what's going on. They know what's going on, but perhaps they have not been introduced to it. So therefore, I'm looking at that as an opportunity and a way to get funding from them. And in that sense, I'm helping the community while I'm educating them. So that's my way of trying to find funds. Another way of funding.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion and idea, Sheila. And okay, so even just what you gave as an example, it's like thinking outside the box. So you could look to work with non-Web3 people, like businesses, companies, because a lot of people are interested in the space, but as we all know, it can be a very overwhelming, information heavy space to get into and requires a lot of time and research. And so that's actually also something that we've discussed in our group as well, which is companies like corporations, business commerce groups will actually pay speakers or people to come in and run workshops. And that's actually a way, like, you could offer and get paid to speak or to run workshops for like Web3 people as a way to kind of generate some income and also grow alliance and affiliation with your DAO. Because, you know, if people don't know what DAOs are and then they hear about your DAO, well, they're going to start associating like everything with you and think about you. So that's a really awesome suggestion.
Yes, absolutely. And we're educating them also. We're educating
Exactly, like bringing in the opportunity. And it's a win-win. If your DAO has a certain value stream, then it's like also looking to work with companies or people that you align with value-wise too. And then it's like an equal opportunity. You're also bringing in more people that you want in the space while also getting paid to do so.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Jess, you're up.
Yeah, so I'm more at a question. So I'm really good at raising funds and finding grants outside of Web3. It's one of my Spidey strengths. And I was listening to someone speak who wanted to set up an infrastructure DAO that created real world solutions to specific areas that didn't have electricity, right? So they were specifically going after government grants. And I guess my question would be for those of you that have DAOs, but also have businesses, what is a way to have integrity when you set up your DAO, knowing that there's certain government contracts that require a certain level of accountability? Because that was exactly what ended up happening with this one DAO project, and they ended up coming up with a hybrid. So the way that the nonprofit is run is a DAO, but they also had to have a company attached to it to bid on these government contracts, because the thing they ended up running into when they were bidding was, well, who do we hold accountable? Like, how do we actually, if this goes south, if we're going to, partner in all these different regions with these infrastructure grants, how do we do that? So I guess that would be my question is, I know where the funding is there, but how do we maintain integrity when we want to set up a DAO? And knowing that there might be some impact projects we're working on that require a little bit more accountability for grant funding.
That's a great question. I have some thoughts, but I want to open it up first to see if anyone has something that they want to share on that. Nope. Okay. And then obviously feel free to interrupt me if someone's just struggling to unmute themselves. That I think is actually a really great example of how DAOs, we really envision them as being this kind of utopian way of working. But then there are just some examples where we're okay, but there has to be some structure or some form of centralization in it to have accountability. That's even why one of the struggles we're having is, is having a core team really decentralized, but you kind of have to have a core team to actually build the momentum to become decentralized sometimes. So even with what Amy was saying in the beginning, this really is, we're all pioneering this new way of doing and creating. And so there's probably isn't a right or wrong approach. One of the things when you're sharing that came to mind to me was thinking about Makers DAO. and how they actually only just became decentralized, which I thought was really interesting. But how they have all these like sub DAOs, and all the sub DAOs have, which is what we're doing with Blue DAO. We have Blue DAO, and then there's sub DAOs, and then there's the alliance. That it could be like you have the DAO, and then you have like the sub DAO. And in the sub DAO, like the rules of that sub DAO is that that's actually like a centralized team that is responsible for completing certain kinds of projects. And it would just be maybe that people can vote in who that team is. And then until the project is completed, like no governance happens there. Like something like that. There's like, you know, where there's ways where you could have it be like case by case, like, because there are, for all of us, we're going to have a project that's just going to require us to like maybe strong arm some people to get it done. Because the beautiful part of decentralization is that people are just really motivated and will always show up to do the work that they promised to do. And then there's reality, which is that all of us have a tendency to bite off more than we can chew. Or at the beginning of a project, we're really inspired. And as time goes on, our inspiration wanes. Therefore, our motivation to work on a project wanes, which is part of why we have this group to discuss those things. So that would just be like my two cents, is that could be an option. Like have your big DAO, have a subsidiary DAO, but that the rules of that DAO specifically is that it's actually more centralized, closed, and doesn't have open governance until a project's completed.
Yeah, I was gonna say a similar thing, Lana. A DAO is meant to achieve the mission of a DAO, and once the mission is reached, then it dissolves. So in your case, like kind of what Lana's alluding to, you can have project-based DAOs, right? This is the intent of this small little DAO to achieve this project or bounty. Upon completion of that bounty or purpose of that project, then they get paid, and otherwise they don't. And within that small DAO, they have peer-to-peer evaluation, can keep them accountable, and so on and so forth.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Amy. Does anyone else have anything they want to add?
I'll just chime in real quick. As a filler, I mean, it's the same concept. There's a DAO that was called Constitution DAO, which raised about $47 million just to buy one of the, was it the U.S. Constitution? But it got outbid. So missions like that to achieve one purpose, right? Their intent was to buy the U.S. Constitution, and it was successful. I mean, they raised 47 or 46 million or so, and just to buy, you know, that piece of paper. But obviously outbid it, and then after that they dissolved themselves, and then rewarded back exactly one for one about how much that they raised together, and brought that back to their cohort and community. So things like that can happen, right? So you can set up DAOs for that mission, just like how we were mentioning about for bounties.
Yeah, that's a really good example, Al. And I think something that all of us should be thinking about, whether it be in our, because like companies, you can have like a main company and then all these subsidiary companies, because as you grow out, you might be in the same zone, but for different purposes need to like restructure your thing, your organization. Same with DAOs. And we were actually talking about this with Boris from Harmony, where he said that there needs to be like a DAO graveyard. Like there has to be a way to kill DAOs that have just completed a project or completed what their task was. And so that's a great idea, even for all of us, is, we can create like little teams or little DAOs that are project-based, very specific. Their goal is to like go out and complete a mission, and then upon the completion of the mission, it dissolves. And that's actually a really great way also to create, honestly, motivation for people to finish projects, because there's an end in sight. And sometimes when we create things, not like the overarching DAO needs to like come to an end, but for certain projects that you might be testing or trying, like you might want to be experimenting with ways to grow or to make money, and don't be afraid to like structure it so that there's like a start and an end date, and that you reevaluate something at the completion of the end date or the completion of the project as well. Does that help, Jess? Like, do you feel?
Yeah, I didn't know you could have, I think like learning more about DAOs, I feel like it's like somewhat in my mind, this thing you release into the universe. And then if you haven't set it up the right way, it just takes on a mind of its own. So I think to know they could have these little projects that maybe pop up and then come down, I mean, like be like leading teams and projects. Like, I mean, I've done projects all over the world, and you're right, there's a diffusion of responsibility. So there does require some element of a team to build a certain, part, and volunteers mean well, but they might not have the skill set. So yeah, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and it's like DAOs are living, breathing things, and like you said, sometimes we do set them up to be able to go out. It's like the human body. We're not like actually just like one entity. Like we're made up of all these atoms, we have all our organs, like there's so many things at work, and a lot of things in our body are actually dying. But the dying piece of it is part of the longevity and survival of our body overarchingly. And so it's kind of just thinking about with how we're running our DAO or structuring our DAO, to know that there can be, things don't always have to be one way, or don't always have to look like one thing. And that's the whole point about thinking outside of the box. And decentralization actually means that there really isn't actually one way to do something, because if we move to a way in which we all operate our DAO with like a set of rules and it's the same set of rules, well, that just becomes actually like a centralized way of just rinsing and repeating the same method, which is not innovative, and can't do a lot of the things. So it's like, yeah, experiment, get freaky with how you set up your DAO, and play with it, because that's part of like, why else would we be doing the crazy things we're doing in this space if it wasn't to kind of experiment and see what we could do? Does anyone else have any like things that they've set up in their DAO that maybe have helped build money, or a structure that they're using? Again, because we're just kind of, there's no right or wrong answer. We're just looking to brainstorm and support each other in coming up with ways to be sustainable outside of just receiving grant funding or bootstrapping our DAOs with our own money as well. So if anyone else has any, there's no wrong answer or share.
I would say be more knowledgeable and try and create NFTs, because NFTs is a great way to get resources, and we know that that's where everything's going also. So we can look at that and say, well, how can we create money, building a collection of NFTs, which I'm working on, because we're in this space where anything is possible. And like you said, Lana, we have to think outside the box, and there's no right or wrong answer. We do it and see if it works, and if we know it will work, but we just have to keep going and going. And that's just my suggestion. So that's one way.
I love that. Thank you. And with what you were sharing, it made me think too about how, like, well, we've got some wealth builders on this call. Like, one of the most common pieces of advice for individuals to build out wealth, which is the same strategy for businesses, which is actually having multiple streams of income, and having multiple streams of income, diversifying that. So some are more stable, some might be more risky. And so it would be the same thing with DAOs. So NFTs is a really great example. We will have a session on like liquidity pools and DeFi, which is something that Black Leaders DAO actually hosted for us while we were in Rio. So there are ways to like create, essentially there are part of the ways to be sustainable would be to actually take profits from like external action oriented things that make us money, that bring money into the DAO, and then using the money that you have, the profits, and actually investing that into systems like liquidity pools as an example, to help generate money on your profit. So it's like investing your profits to create sustainability. And if you even work that into your budget, that's one of the things Kate and I know we're trying to work into our scholarship DAO budget, is like, how do we have some money that's, we generate income, but that money is actually a percentage of everything we generate might be earmarked for the treasury, and part of the treasury's job would then be to like find ways to create sustainability over time. And then that just allows us to have more freedom in what we do and experiment with stuff, and have more of an impact, be able to take more risks, that kind of stuff. So that would be another thing. Melanie, I saw you take your video off. Oh, was that Noe?
Yeah, I didn't take off my video, but I did unmute. I just wanted to piggyback on what Sheila just said about the NFTs. We have NFTs, and even if we look at releasing a new tranche of NFTs, how can we make our NFTs utility-based? I don't have the answer, but what utilities can we bring that are marketable and long-term that will attract, investors? And the other thing I have, and this is completely future focused, out the box, it's not something we can do now, but I thought about this yesterday when we launched our YouTube channel, because YouTube is Web 2, and we are a DAO and we're forward thinking in Web 3. Blue DAO will need its own event space in the metaverse. When we have our own event space, we've got artists, we can have concerts there, we can have gallery showings there. We already have the artists on board. We can have talks, and these can all be fee-based events. It's clearly not something we can do now because we'll need the budget, I suppose, to get a metaverse event space up. But that is that's what I think about when I think holistic. It's all in our camp. We're bringing as much back home as we can. We're using our own talent to build out, and then we're using our own talent to make money off of.
I love that. We are a cult. We need a cult location. All good cults have
totally
a spot.
Next door to Snoop. Not necessarily.
Exactly.
I'm really too much money.
Yeah. No, thank you, Noe. That was a really that was like a very good example. And so one of the things I'm also trying to get a friend, she's not Web3, but I think that her not being Web3 actually would make her really interesting to run it. But I have a client and a friend who runs like one of the world's top course creator schools, like online programs. And she's like very, very good at what she does. And people pay her a lot of money to like help them do it. And I actually want to get her to come in and talk to us about not actually she knows a little bit about NFTs, but having someone like come and speak to us about how to create like utility from a marketing perspective, because with NFTs, selling an NFT with utility is the exact same process as creating a course and selling it, or creating any kind of online offer or program. Like, it's like mind blowing to me how they're the same thing. So I'm going to try and kind of like experiment too with people to come in and talk about stuff that help us like think outside the box, because all NFT utility just ends up sounding the same. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like people copy and pasted someone else's utility or roadmap. So we'll try and do that. So thank you, Noe, for making me think of that. Ali, I know you had your hand raised.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you brought that up, just because my profession is a financial advisor, so understanding how money works is truly one part of the equation here. So utility is one part of value capture. So how do you create the value? In the past, how do inflation happen as well, is because people saw value in something and then they buy overbid for that one something. For example, $1 for a lemon, somebody else would rather buy that lemon from that individual for $2, right? So the supply and demand equation. And Noe did bring up a great topic about events and the YouTube and all these other aspects, that those are value aspects for the organization of a DAO, right? People are willing to watch your YouTube, and that creates the demand. But if you keep it gated, that kind of limits the supply, right? So that actually increases price values. So that creates value, right? Utility is the equation of the value. So if somebody are interested and demand is high, then your value is there. You can capture it through that aspect. And then back to the NFTs, it's a great way to fundraise as well. It's just to introduce your product globally, right? So this is the bridge that we're connecting together, because remember, DAOs are an organization, a cohort of same mission driven aspect. So, the traditional world centralized, and now we have this decentralized world where it's all driven off of bits, and on the centralized world, all driven off of atoms, which are humans. So connecting that world together, and we're trying to solve that collective in a common mission. It is an experiment, right, in some sort, but eventually we'll get there, and we're bridging that gap.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, Al. Yeah, and like everything where any offer you create, it's supply and demand. Because even with the bounties, right? Like that's why a lot of bounties are like, some bounties are worth a lot of money, and it's because there's a high demand for it, but there's a low supply of people who are solving that problem or have the skills to solve that problem or the time. That's why like DAOs actually solving bounties, like because you work as a team. So it might actually, for a developing app, it might like take an individual person like weeks, but it might take like a collective group only a week and a half or something like that. And so supply and demand works like in all, we can leverage it in all the ways. Okay, Mr. Techno, I'm only going to call you Mr. Techno Coins.
No, I was trying, I saw giving some examples. So Noyes was asking, like I was saying, about the utility. And the great thing about bringing utility to NFTs is that you bring adoption, So when you have more adoption, you have like more people using it. So you can think about NFTs as being a smart contract or maybe even a token. So for example, as Lana was saying, she has like a major client that do all these online courses. So imagine in the future that if you finish the course, instead of receiving a certificate, you can receive NFT. So this will bring like more adoption to it. Everyone that does courses don't want to have a paper no more. They will want to have like an NFT, because everybody will know when they made the course, how long they took, what were their scores. Lots of technologies in our world, when they came up, they was meant to do this that they are doing now. We saw it like to use it to other things, but with the advance of technology, we found a better fit in other things. So it's the same in a new technology, like Viagra, for example, was made for a heart disease, and it's a medicine for other things now. So we have like products for baldness, yeah, and they were discovering by trying to make a medicine for stress, So we were trying to develop a technology, and we came up in another place. It's the same as NFT. If you look on the market, we have like so many examples. We told one about courses, like we have others like Alfa Romeo is selling some cars with NFTs, and what the NFT does, it brings to you all the reviews that you made with the car at the dealership. So the next owner will be able to know everything that you did with the car. Okay, so lots of places are using NFTs as smart contracts too, like healthcare places are using NFTs to put everything you have been already to a doctor, So it's easy for the company to know what have you attended, the last time you went to the medic, how many times you are using their product, So basically, it can have like lots of purposes. Depends on what your business is doing and what you intend. But it's crazy. We can't say to where it will head. We are only trying and developing yet. but that's what I wanted to bring up for you guys.
No, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And you actually, that's the thing, yeah, like with everything, like there's so many use cases that haven't even been discovered yet. And another way your DAO could actually make money is if you were to create or launch a project and have like a proof of concept, like say you launch a really great NFT collection, and maybe it's a smaller collection. There are also a lot of people, again, not just in Web3, but who are interested in coming into Web3 or onboarding their business or organization that you could actually go to, going back to Sheila's idea, like you could not just get paid to speak, but you could also get paid to say like, hey, our DAO, because maybe you have great developers and an artist on hand, you've got everything you need in your DAO, because that's the beauty of DAOs. And you say, hey, we will make your, like the business networking bureau, we'll make an NFT for you. You guys will be the first people like in your district to be doing this. And so there's also ways for you to leverage the skills that you have and leverage like things that you've already done into people who haven't done it. It's one of those interesting things where like, because we're in the Web3 space, we can see all the things we don't know how to do and all the things we have yet to do in comparison to everyone that we feel like is ahead of us or doing better. But we forget that the fact is that there's a very small amount of people who are in Web3, and there are more people to be onboarded into Web3 than there are like potential clients in Web3. And so it's always just thinking about how can you further your mission? How can you maybe help support other people with their mission? And how can you utilize the skill set that you have within your DAO? It might not have to be something that you always offer, but you could make a push to do like a fundraising campaign where even you compete, like people get into teams and they compete to like make money for the DAO in some way. And, you know, the winners get something. But the idea is like the funds are used to then create the liquidity pool or create some type of other kind of investment. And so it's just like the ways in which we can make money can be infinite. And we can gamify them for our DAO as well. So does anyone, I just want to keep it at that 1.5 hour mark because I know people have lives outside of this call, believe it or not.
I'll just share one thing. I was thinking just essentially along the lines of what you were saying. There's far more people, when I hear conversation about what we're offering, it very much seems like we're talking to people that's already in the space, and there seems like so much more people who have no clue. And like I said, I'm like a super bait, like 3 weeks into this area. So I'm, you know, like even selling NFTs, it seems like people are just walking around selling it to like the same 20 people. Yeah. And I'm like, but nobody on the outside knows. Like I ask people all the time, like, hey, have you heard of NFTs or what do you think about this? And they don't get it. They're like, I don't know, it's a graphic, like, you know, so the more we bring people in, the more people we have to purchase or service or, you know, and so I think, I don't have a specific way now because I literally just don't, you know, as I'm learning more, an idea will form, but the baseline idea is just that, like, getting more to the people who don't know about the space at all. So there's more people to sell to instead of like same group.
Just the same people. That's why they say, yeah, like that's the Ponzi scheme, right? You're just like the same people over and over. No, thank you for sharing that, Melly. And so like actually like the one thing I've been playing with is with bringing people in, there's also ways where we all like, you know, 7 degrees of separation. And so it's even just looking at something as an example, like I know someone who, it's not, don't fact check me on it.
Oh no.
Like when she does stuff, like she has like lines of people when she travels out and has like hundreds and hundreds of followers on every platform and like can launch a product and like make millions on launch day. And she's not onboarded into Web3, but she's curious. And so I've been trying to ponder, one, I have to like convince her because she's not money oriented, but she is impact value oriented. And I'm trying to figure out for Blue DAO, what is actually a more profitable like way to support our DAO and to support her? Is it to get a kind of like a reward for having her, this huge influencer person, say, create a social token on Harmony? Like, can I negotiate on behalf of Blue DAO, like a commission essentially for bringing this really big person who will onboard a lot of people? Or do we with Blue DAO like work with her to launch it and then maybe get a percentage of the proceeds of a social token she launches or an NFT project? And so sometimes too, it's just looking at like, we can onboard people, but there might be certain people who you're like, oh, if that person was just in this space, like it would do something crazy good. That's like a way to make money. We're like, okay, well, I'll mentor them and support them and they can use our resources and tools to make the process easier for them. And then just like any service, you get a commission. So that's just like another way too, because we all 7 degrees of separation. I have 3 degrees of separation to Taylor Swift. It's probably like the thing I'm most proud of in this world. Sheila.
Yes. When Melanie was talking about, outside of the community, there are many people who are not knowledgeable. I'm taking it upon myself to go to universities. I have a university right near me, and to reach out to them, have a workshop with them, educate them, because it's about community. And sometimes it's not about who we know, it's about who we know who knows someone else. So the more we reach out to the community and educate them, that's building a community, and then there are resources, financial resources that they know about that we don't know about. So that's just an option. I think it's a wonderful idea, and also we could perhaps have an outreach committee. We can have, a campaign, a Blue DAO campaign. You just reach out, flood the streets, flood the internet with Blue DAO campaigns all over, because that's what it's about, reaching people. It's the numbers. The numbers are there. We have to be creative in reaching those people and reaching the numbers. So that's my take on that. She went out again.
And as we all know, we have to build our house. So when we continue to build momentum, there needs to be some place for these people to be a part of and contribute when they come back.
Absolutely.
Our internet is so bad. So I think it kicked Lana off. Are you back?
I'm back. I got kicked out of my own meeting.
I was just saying our internet was bad, but I guess we can wrap up.
Yeah, I heard, and sorry, and I was saying too, like even just with what Sheila, and then I'll wrap up. And Noe, I know you were saying something, but I didn't hear it. Even like Harmony's releasing their timeless wallet, and they're actually going to give out, like they'll have like a fee if you onboard so many users, you can like make money. So even just perusing protocols, like a lot of the times they'll mention ways to make money through onboarding, even as an example, that are little, but there's little ways that add up. So just like search for that kind of stuff as well. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining our first DAO Alliance call. I really appreciate all of you spending this time with us and introducing yourself and sharing your ideas. Again, if you're not already in the DAO Alliance channel on Discord, send us a message on join the Blue DAO Telegram, or send us a message on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll get you into it when it opens again. But what I encourage everyone to do is even just keep thinking, like even if you think of a few ideas or resources, just share them in that chat. We always go further like together, and really sharing resources and ideas will help like the ecosystem as a whole thrive. And everyone today shared really wonderful DAOs that they're creating and in. And so we really want to be able to see everyone thrive, and community is always a way to do that. And for topic ideas too, in the DAO Alliance channel, always feel free to like drop in topic ideas or things you'd like to discuss, and then we can create themes around that as well. The next call will be in 2 weeks, and we'll do a vote on the time and date. So also join the channel so that you can be there for that. But I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.